And welcome to SVG-TV News for Friday, January 30th, 2026. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. The country's public debt now stands at $3.5 billion, according to Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Dr. Godwin Friday. The disclosure was made during the budget estimates presentation in Parliament yesterday. Dr. Friday said the debt increased significantly in 2025 compared to the previous year, 2024.
$3,539,759,270. $3.5 billion. That figure is 13% more than the total disbursed outstanding debt for the comparative period in 2024. The total domestic debt is $993 million as of December 31st, 2025, an increase of 1.1%, and $10.7 million, or $10.7 million when compared to the debt previous in 2024. And the external debt, Madam Speaker, is $2.55 billion. That's an increase of 18.7% over the comparable period in 2024.
What he described as particularly concerning is a government overdraft facility which has exceeded its approved limit of $85 million.
The main changes in the domestic debt, Madam Speaker, and this is the troubling part too. The balance outstanding on the overdraft owed by the public sector, increased by $5.2 million, or 3.5%. And local loans portfolio grew by 6.6%. Madam Speaker, one of the things that we should note is that the overdraft facility, which Parliament said would be basically $35 million, $85 million, has expanded to close to $200 million at one point. But we will address that, as I say, when we come later on, because time is of the essence now.
Meanwhile, Minister of Foreign Affairs Dwight Fitzgerald Bramble outlined the steady rise in public debt since 2022, noting that it has climbed to more than 40% in 2025. He said this trend does not reflect positively on the country's economic growth, adding that taxpayers are now feeling the squeeze.
2024, 32.5%, and in 2025, our debt service ratio has exceeded 40%. It is now 41.7%, almost 42%. It means every dollar that we generate in tax revenue, we have to pay almost half of that dollar to pay back the national debt. So you wonder now why it becomes even more challenging to be able to provide essential social services like proper health care. Why it becomes even more challenging to provide assistance to our community college students. Why it becomes even more challenging to help the poor and marginalized in this country. But yet, within 2 months, this government has been able to deliver a salary bonus, and we have been able to keep our promise to increase public assistance to $500 a month.
And Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security Sinclair Leacock continues to lament the poor working conditions of police officers, describing the situation as unacceptable. In his contribution to the debate on the estimates, Minister Leacock promised to do better for the police officers who serve the country.
Serving police officer in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, under my watch, under the watch of this Prime Minister, under the watch of our administration, must ever find him and herself leaving the conditions of the home and the bed on which they slept to serve under conditions that are far worse than the domestic situations. Far worse. And it's my regret, Madam Speaker, that I couldn't look across the aisle today and speak for the shamelessness of the state of affairs in national security, in particular the police service. The Honorable Leader of the Opposition, former Prime Minister, I've been told and advised, has never one day yet set his foot into the Ministry of National Security, where I now serve. I'm the first resident Minister of National Security who does it frequently, not once, He cannot tell when last he went to the prisons of Bel Isle to see the conditions.
And Minister responsible for Housing, Andrew John, in his contribution to the debate on the 2026 budget estimates last night, acknowledged that there are numerous issues within the housing sector that the government is seeking to address. John noted that he has heard the concerns raised by members of the opposition regarding an increase in the allocation to continue the housing program. Minister John, however, explained that although the allocation has been reduced, the decision was based on figures provided by the previous administration on the number of houses they claimed to have repaired.
They claimed that they had fixed 5,034 homes, and I'll break it down for you just now. Don't want to go look for no notes yet, but I'll find it for you. Only to realize when we started visiting and doing assessment that numbers do lie, because nothing that you said was done there was done on inspection. Nothing on a part of that. And you come in here arguing about who do this and who do that. Crazy man. The way that housing, well, the entire ministry was run, I hope this is a good place to say it. It might have been one of the most corrupt institutions in St. Vincent. And I will tell you why I say that. Yeah, immunity here? Okay, thank you. The previous administration used housing as a political football, Madam Speaker. That is where they tried, and I think they might have done so successfully in previous elections, but they tried in this election to manipulate that housing ministry to ensure that they won that last election. They tried, and I'm glad that the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines woke up. The people woke up to their intention. I will tell you why.
Minister John also doubled down on his claim that the previous administration used the housing program to score political points.
What they tried to do, they took the material that they spent over $6 million for, Madam Speaker, and they put them in certain strategic places, constituencies. They had two in North Leeward. They had one in Central Leeward. One in up north, in North Windward. One in North Central Windward. One in South Central Windward. They put one in the Northern Grenadines and one in the Southern Grenadines. And these are in addition to the two main ones which we have in Camden Park and Annisville. Now, I want you to note the strategy behind putting these two in North Leeward. I guess the boss will tell us when the time comes why two are put in North Leeward. Now, it might have been better. Or same results. Now, the thing is, and I want us to note carefully, the manner in which the housing material was distributed.
Additionally, the housing minister dismissed claims by the opposition that hundreds of people were dismissed by the new NDP administration under the housing program.
You have to ask me to just come to this. This is a cabinet memo dated the 31st of July 2024. A cabinet memo hiring those persons, assigning a figure to them. So if you really wanted them to stay, you should have gone back to cabinet and renewed this. This ended. We are here at the budget now trying to raise more money to continue the program of budget of burial, fixing of burial. I will circulate this to you when you finish. Seems to me that they want to give people the impression that a government that just got an overwhelming mandate to come into government here to come and solve our people are going to just callously dismiss our people like what they did. Now, I don't know if they remember me, but I was part of the delegation that went to the government asking them, please, not to dismiss workers of this country. I worked as a union leader at the time, 2021. And we begged, we cajoled, we asked that we consider the plight. And what Minister said earlier, as touching as it was, Minister King, I personally experienced a lot of that. When they fired, they dismissed 500 plus workers. And they come in here to argue for people who they temporarily did themselves. No, knowingly. I'm going to give people the impression.
And Opposition Senator Carlos James, in his contribution to the debate on the estimates, took aim at the Prime Minister's presentation of the 2026 budget estimates as Minister of Finance. Senator James claimed that the Prime Minister did not appear to take ownership of the document which outlines the revenue and expenditure for the 2026 fiscal year.
And it explained his, in my opinion, Madam Speaker, his lackluster, incoherent, superficial way in which he presented the estimates without sufficient analysis and little regard to fiscal clarity. And I say that, Madam Speaker, because as the Minister of Finance, you have to own this document. It is yours. You have to also present the estimates in a way that the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the private sector, the farmers, the small business operators who are listening to you as the Minister of Finance, you can show up confidence in the economy, confidence in those who are investing and taking risk. And this is a government that is serious about people, the work of the new administration, and what is reflected here, it is your body of work characterizing the government's fiscal program for the year 2026. We didn't have that. We had a shirking of the responsibility on the guys in the Ministry of Finance. We didn't have enough time to fully adjust the document. But you had 2 months. 2 months as Minister of Finance, 2 months as Prime Minister, to stamp your authority and to say, this is my document, these estimates are mine, and what is in here I'm presenting to the people. I didn't get a sense of that authority in your presentation this morning.
Supporting her colleague's position, Opposition Senator Kiesel Peters said the estimates have broken faith with the promises made by the NDP during the election campaign. She cited commitments to change, fiscal responsibility, reduce deficits, debt control, economic growth, relief for intentions, and better value for money.
This is your budget. These are your estimates. Embrace them. For whatever it's worth, let us work for the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Madam Speaker, it has been said before, but I will repeat it, that as it relates to the promise of fiscal responsibility, that the current deficit in these estimates is more than the last 4 years combined, with money to spare, millions to spare. So, on the campaign trail, the word debt was something that the new administration, then opposition, ran away from. But now they seem to be sprinting into this large current deficit in our estimates. You don't understand? No. Now, Madam Speaker, they promised to rein in the borrowing, but local loans have jumped to 200 billion. Well, it's so now. I guess when the shoe is on the other foot, it is convenient. No, I understand it very well. They promised transparency under the budget, under the estimates, Madam Speaker, where it says other receipts. Whenever we put other receipts, they were deemed fraud.
And after hours of debate by members on both sides of the House, the EC $1.8 billion budget estimates for 2026, which were tabled in Parliament early on Thursday by Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Dr. Godwin Friday, were passed just before midnight. The 2026 estimates represented 2% increase over the previous year. During his wrap-up of the debate, the Prime Minister responded to comments made by opposition Senator Carlos James, who questioned the coherence and direction of the estimates. Dr. Friday pushed back, suggesting that the senator may not have read the document carefully.
The estimates, it doesn't show any direction in terms of creating the movement forward to development. His colleague, Senator Peters, also said likewise. It's as though they had rehearsed this before they came in. And then, Madam Speaker, they spoke about things that they had hoped to see, or if they saw it there, it wasn't enough. And ultimately, what it appeared to me is that they were, picking and choosing and using sort of a scattershot approach and trying to sound as though they have been interrogating the document when in fact they had looked at some aspects of it, but not entirely. At some point, I thought that I was going to ask Senator Peters which part of the document she read, if it was just the cover, because some of the stuff that she was saying clearly didn't indicate any familiarity with the estimates, even though, as I said, a big chunk of it would have been prepared when they were still in government. Now, the focus about the deficit. Both of them mentioned the deficit. Oh, you have fiscal prudence, and you talk about this in opposition and so forth. What they forget, Madam Speaker, we inherited this. They spent in this election year like a drunken sailor, and we come into government, we have to carry on the business of government. You got to pay salaries. We have to honor our promises that we made to the people when we were campaigning, because these are the things that matter to them. Even they said so.
The Prime Minister also sought to clarify concerns raised by members of the opposition regarding fiscal prudence and the cancellation of certain projects initiated under the former ULP administration.
These guys are on our side. We know that there are shortcomings and so forth. But whatever is possible, they will resolve it in our favor. And that was what we campaigned, that's what we committed to on the campaign trail. And for those people who want to wring their hands about the circumstances, I know that the situation is difficult. We expected that. We didn't expect it to be as difficult as it is. For example, in the estimate, at the end of the budget process, we vote, we pass a resolution to say you could borrow $85 million as a fluctuating overdraft, and that is the law. We came into office, the overdraft was close to $200 million. That's at 7 or 8% interest. The debt we thought was 2.6 billion is $3.5 billion. You have a situation, Madam Speaker, where we have, when I got into office, I thought that they said, okay, the debt to GDP ratio is 101%. We see here in the estimate, it's 110%. Servicing the debt, Madam Speaker, 39.5 cents out of every dollar of tax dollar that we earn goes just to pay debt. The debt service this year is how much? $358 million. We have to find that money just to pay for things that were done before we came into office. That's what we inherited. And you come here with the gall to say, oh, you don't have stuff that will generate growth and generate this and so on. We're looking after the people first. We promised them that we're going to ease the cost of living crisis, then we will take care of the economy. The mess that you made is a big one. You take a little time to clean it up, and we will clean it up.
Dr. Friday further told the House that although no funds were allocated in the estimates, the Citizenship by Investment program will be implemented. He also announced plans for a well-funded National Youth Council and the establishment of a centralized cultural hub to allow young people to harness their talents. The Prime Minister additionally addressed issues raised by the opposition concerning funds allocated for the refurbishment of the official Prime Minister's residence and the purchase of vehicles for his use. Dr. Friday clarified that there is no fleet of vehicles as suggested, but only 2, and noted that the work required at the Prime Minister's residence was identified by experts at Braxa.
I'm hearing now, that today, that all the sheeting on the roof has to be replaced because it is corroded, and in some places it may actually be leaking. I heard now as well the electrical system. I'm not saying this. They said it is a fire hazard, that the entire electrical system in the residence has to be replaced. I wasn't expecting that. They said, Madam Speaker, the rails around the building is rotting and it's dangerous and it's urgent that it has to be replaced. I wasn't expecting that. There are other things that can be done, the upgrading and the remodeling and so forth. But these are things, Madam Speaker, they're not for me. This building is a heritage building. This is something that should be the country we should preserve and be proud of. My colleague, the Honorable Minister of National Security, talk about the conditions under which the police are made or forced to live. The same thing is up at the Prime Minister's residence. The quarters in which the security are supposed to live in, Madam Speaker, they're sleeping in bunks. 4 to a room. I mean, these are things, Madam Speaker, that need to be changed. I would not be comfortable sleeping in the Prime Minister's residence knowing that the people who are supposed to be guarding the Prime Minister are sleeping in those conditions. So that is part of the process that will happen.
Now we hear that Comptroller of the Inland Revenue Department, Kelvin Pompey, has announced a 1-week extension for individuals with outstanding vehicle license payments. Pompey said the extension is intended to facilitate public compliance during the transition to the new high-security digital vehicle license sticker system. He explained that the additional time will now allow motorists to regularize their payments while becoming familiar with the updated licensing process.
Yes, thank you, Professor Bob. Good to be in the program. Well, yes, we did recognize that there are persons who would normally pay their license early in the month or in the end of month rush. And so given that we started, I think, just in this last week, an extension has been given. An extension for the deadline for payment is being given to February the 6th, that is Friday, February the 6th. So persons who have last digit 1, and the deadline for payment is now February the 6th, which is next week, Friday. It's all persons would then should have complied, and we are at this point. I think we are pleased in terms of the take up and the ease at which the transition has been made with the new sticker. And I think we are confident that most persons given the chance would have. Last digit 1 would have renewed their license by next Friday, so as to avoid any problems with the licensing authority, that is the police.
Pompey also stated that public notifications are currently being circulated to inform vehicle owners about the new license stickers and to provide guidance on their proper application. According to him, these messages form part of the department's broader public education efforts aimed at ensuring a smooth rollout of the new system.
Been doing collaborative work, I think, with the media unit at the police department. We have also from our end, we do a lot of online content management in terms of pushing information out on Facebook to the online newspapers. Of course, we are on the ground floor meeting taxpayers outside. And yes, I think the message is going out and has gone out in terms of persons and the news sticker. And we're actually doing a video right now showing persons how to rip off and attach the new sticker to the decal, because I think there are a couple of persons who had problems with it. But yes, the message has gone out, and as I said, we are quite pleased with persons' acceptance of the new sticker. I think most persons can see it as an improvement over what we had in the past.
Pompey also noted that as the department continues to enhance its services through technology, another major initiative will be introduced soon. He announced that an online payment system is expected to be launched by March this year, allowing motorists to pay their vehicle license fees more conveniently.
I think generally licensing, we are going to continue to see, I think, changes in the way we manage the license system. So between the department and the police, who are the licensing authority, we would continue to update the general public as we utilize technology to serve the public better. I think I would have mentioned that by March, sometime in March or before the end of March, we should be rolling out an online payment system for both motor vehicle and drivers, and also a new inspection regime and insurance regime also, but we will get more details on that. But we are upgrading and using technology, I think, to serve the public so much better, because we have to get persons out of standing in line and be able to get their transaction done, pay their taxes, pay their license from wherever they are, at home, abroad, or wherever. So we are committed to doing that, and I think we are making good progress in that regard.
The Inland Revenue Department Comptroller added that the department remains committed to improving efficiency, accessibility, and compliance through modernized systems and ongoing technological advancements. And a new high-security digital motor vehicle license sticker system will soon replace the traditional punch hole method as part of efforts to modernize vehicle registration and improve compliance. License Officer of the Inland Revenue Department, Yolande Boye, made the announcement during an interview on Thursday, outlining the benefits of the new system and explaining how it will operate. Boye explained that the digital stickers are designed to modernize the verification of vehicle licenses, making the process more efficient and reliable for both motorists and law enforcement officers. She noted that the updated system will allow for easier identification and reduce opportunities for fraud associated with the older punch hole stickers.
Minimal changes to our decals that we normally use. For example, along the sides of our older version of our decals, you'll see that the months are listed. And what we would normally do is punch a hole through the month in which the license expires. In this case, this is punched October. So this states that the license would expire October 2026. The new decal states the month and the year very boldly to the top. We also have included the year, the type and model of vehicle, and also the color. The number plate will also be displayed on our new decals.
Boye further stated that the initiative will strengthen policing and road safety, noting that there have been reports in the past of license stickers being stolen or shared among individuals. According to her, the new high security features will make such practices more difficult and assist officers in identifying unlicensed vehicles more quickly.
Possibility of someone even thinking or attempting to steal or misplace one of these decals, I think it's minimal. It's very minimal. Two, the lengths you'll have to go through, as she was saying, to use a decal, it doesn't make any sense. But two, it also would improve our revenue collection. I am a revenue officer first and foremost, and I always see the bigger picture. Because if persons have vehicles that have the same friends, I understand in circles, we have many reports that in circles persons will use one decal especially if they have the same number. There are a lot of reports that come to us from time to time that they would take their vehicles to mechanics, body workshop, and their decals go missing.
Additionally, Boye highlighted that the change will affect most motorists as all registered vehicles will eventually transition to the new digital sticker system. She reassured the public that the process will be straightforward and that motorists will receive clear guidance on how to comply during the rollout.
Cost to replace a sticker is $125, and we normally ask that they, along with their insurance, they bring us a letter to state what happened to their decals. In most cases, persons will know, and in a lot, they cannot tell me. They took it somewhere and the decals went missing. And we understand now that persons manufacture pockets that you could put your decals in. So you could just slide it in and slide it out. And the probability now is slim, because our new decals around here has adhesive. So when you slide it into the pocket, it would stick because you have to take it off so the color for the year to be displayed.
The licensing officer said that while the appearance of the license stickers will change, the overall licensing requirements will remain the same. She added that the initiative is aimed at improving security and strengthening the Inland Revenue Department's ability to collect revenue more efficiently.